Holy Sports Almanac, Batman! Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the show where Batman the Animated Series expert, Dragon here, takes Batman the Animated Series novice, Tiki, through the wild and crazy world of Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, you see, folks, quite simply, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, you could say serving as his spirit guide to Gotham, in a way.
And tonight we're talking about Fear of Victory. Oh boy, Dragon. So I have strong feelings about this episode.
Yeah?
Strong feelings.
Yeah?
I was, this might be one of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen. I was completely blown away by every single second of it.
Wow, really?
No, Dragon, this is my least favorite episode of the series so far.
Oh man, that was cruel.
You know what? Given your circumstances with Saul, I probably shouldn't have pulled that. I'm sorry.
Saying, I was really pleasantly surprised for a minute there, and then you just
No, I really didn't like this one, Dragon. I thought it was preachy. It didn't really go anywhere. It was repetitive. I didn't really dig the Scarecrow in this. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, look, it might not be, like, objectively the worst one that we've talked about. Like, probably objectively the worst one is still maybe Cat in the Claw Part 2, maybe.
What about Batman in My Basement? Oh, right. No, you like that one.
I did like that one.
Yeah, so Cat in the Claw Part... Is it just Part 2? Because I thought you liked Cat in the Claw Part 1.
I liked Part 1. That's the thing.
Right.
I liked Part 1, and then Part 2 goes off the side of a cliff.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, Dragon, look, I'm not trying to ruin your night or anything, and I had this whole routine of like, oh my god, it's so amazing, I love it. No, actually, it's not really that good at all. So, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. All right, but do you have any background for this, Dragon? Any writing credits?
Yeah, sure.
Or whatnot?
Here we go. So the director was Dick Sebast on this. Now, Dick Sebast, he's gotten some of the gems of the series, as well as some other ones. Like, ironically, Tiki, he directed Cat in the Claw Part 1, the one that you liked. He directed that. And he also directed, again, you'll notice Robin is prominent in this episode, and this is very specific with Dick Sebast, because he directed probably the most famous Robin episode in Batman the Animated Series. He directed Robin's Reckoning, which we'll get to at some point. This was written by Samuel Warren Joseph, and it's pretty much a one-shot. He didn't write anything else. So he just wrote this episode, and that was about it for him. The studio, and again, this is another early studio for one of their finest animation studios. We have TMS. TMS, really well known for directing Two-Face. They did Two-Face Part 1, and most famously, they did Feet of Clay Part 2 with all the great morphing effects. So the title refers to, the old adage, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. And of course, in this case, the fear of victory and the agony of the Scarecrow.
He made the funny.
And I guess lastly, just kind of tracking the context of the animated series here, contextually, they always tried to make the Scarecrow a little scarier. Scarecrow was a character who was somewhat of a problem character for them, and that they were always figuring out and altering Scarecrow every time they had him in the series. So the first time, which I still like the first appearance of Scarecrow, he's this very, he's a refined doctor of fear with kind of the old...
Well, that's the thing, Dragon. Maybe that's why I have such a distaste for this episode, is that I really thought that they dumbed down the Scarecrow from his first appearance.
That's the thing, you can kind of see that until they got to the revamp with Jeffrey Combs as the Scarecrow, basically, Bruce Timm always wanted to make the Scarecrow scarier. He wanted a guy who really just looked scary, and I was always happy with the first one. It's just, he's a guy essentially a mad scientist who uses fear. And he looks like a Scarecrow, like he's a very lanky kind of guy. And
right.
And this is them just trying to kind of make him get him more towards that end point. And this we had this middle ground Scarecrow for a couple of episodes, and then he never gets like a full Scarecrow. This and the ending of season 1 is a Scarecrow episode where you have this design of the Scarecrow, and I think you'll be happier with the next one. I'll say that much. But yeah, they don't really do a lot with this second tier Scarecrow. I'll say that much. He's more of like a cameo after those 2 episodes I'm talking about. So he's just kind of a before they revamp him to make him a lot more interesting. He's just kind of I call this the work in progress Scarecrow. But there are elements of the Scarecrow I like. Again, it's pretty much just the old Scarecrow with a new mask and kind of a simpler plot.
Also, just for context, Dragon, remind me what Robin episodes he's popped up in so far.
When you mean Scarecrow?
No, Robin. Just like what Robin episodes have we seen so far that Robin's been in?
Well, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure this is the second episode Robin's
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was just this and Christmas with the Joker, right?
Exactly. You're right. Yeah.
So, any word on like why there was such a long gap or why this?
Oh yeah, sure.
Go
right.
ahead.
It's important. So here's the thing. Yeah. So Robin, they didn't want to do the Burt Ward. They didn't necessarily want to do the Burt Ward Robin or make him like a kid, like in the classic 40s comics. What they wanted to do is, they aged him up. And Tim, you gotta remember, in the 90s, Tim Drake, the third Robin, he was really popular. That's why they gave him the green the green pants instead of the tights. And what they did is they really wanted a solo Batman series, but they also wanted there's kind of a mandate of like it's Batman, so therefore there must be a Robin, but also it's like they like Robin, but they want more solo Batman shows, so they want more like Heart of Ice opportunities, just Batman judged by his villains. But at times they would need to work in Robin and be just kind of you had to do it. And what they did to work around that was they aged Robin up. Basically, they wanted to get kind of so they can get to the Nightwing years anytime they really wanted to. So they always put him in college. So that's why Robin's in college, and they always had an out in writing that, okay, Robin's not around because he's in college. When he's like on break or something, that's when he's hanging out with Batman. That's when he's dropping by and he's as Robin. So they had an excuse built in from the beginning, so they didn't have to use Robin in every episode. So that's why Robin is sparsely used until they get to the Nightwing years, where they can just have a lot more freedom with him as Nightwing.
Yeah, and Dragon, I gotta say, the Robin factor is also an element of why I didn't really care for this episode that much. I guess specifically for that reason, because like you said, you illustrated very well. Like the real highlights to me, the highs of this show, I think anyone can agree, are the the episodes where it's simply Batman being judged by his villains, and there ain't no room for any Robin in those stories.
Now, it's not to say Robin's offensive or anything. It's like he's not bad. He's just
No. I'm just saying. Like I feel like when he comes into the picture, although granted, I haven't seen episodes like Robin's Reckoning that I've heard a lot of good things about, but I feel like from what I've seen of him so far, it's not that he makes the episodes bad. It's just that the episodes get a little less subtext to them. Like they become a little bit dumbed down.
And I think that's something we'll get to a point in season 3 when we get to season 3, we get more Robin in the episodes, and we'll see how the shift goes, and then we'll see how you feel about it when we get to there. So we'll see. That's the show kind of changes when we get to that point, and it's.
And I gotta say, man, I am very worried about that point. That to me is like the point of no return, because I'm not really a huge fan of that art style change either. From the little I've seen, I've just seen the Christmas episode.
That's 4. That's season 4. You're thinking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Basically, we get like more Robin, then we get to the revamp.
Well, I'm really worried about season 4 then.
Yeah, season 4 is that's the holiday nights you're speaking of. So the folks at home know. That's the revamp. So anyway,
my bad. This is why you're the expert and I'm the novice, Dragon.
Sure. So I guess with that said, we should jump into it then.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. So we start with I do like the creepy Scarecrow theme that we get in this episode.
And they use the theme from the Scarecrow's first appearance in Nothing to Fear. A messenger arrives. We're inside Dick's dorm with he and his roommate Brian Rogers, aspiring football player.
Yep.
Basically,
the Rock, Dragon, the Rock.
Did they call him the Rock in this one?
Yes.
I thought he said he was a Rock. I don't know if he said he was the Rock.
I could have sworn Robin was. We'll get there. I just know Robin compares him to a Rock at the very least. Like, gosh, Batman! I can't believe the Scarecrow took out the Rock.
Yeah, it's like the game plan all over again. Where's the little girl?
Oh God. Oh God. Anyways.
So they're remarking in kind of some exposition here. They're remarking on Brian having a pro contract possibility, basically being able to be signed by a real team. Basically, some scatters going to a college game and signing him for the Gotham Rogues or an actual football team in Gotham instead of a college league.
Uh-huh.
And what I love here,
By the way, I like how the college team is called the Gotham Knights.
yeah, that's nice. Honestly, I think that's the actual football team. I think they're called the Gotham Knights. It's just Gotham University.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. And also you get kind of Gotham Rogues and Dark Knight Rises years later, kind of based on those sorts of kind of little references there. Gotham Knights. It's also like another nickname for Batman. Haha.
Also, Arkham Knights comes to mind, I guess.
Of course, certainly. Anyway, also I like the little details where you can see visually you got Bruce and Dick in a photograph. Like, hey, there they are. It's just to remind the kids at home, hey, you remember Bruce Wayne? See, there's.
I love my adopted dad.
And I will say this though, I really like that right off the bat. Brian Rogers seems like a nice guy. I like that he's a humble guy who hopes he gets this job so he can put his sister through college with the football.
No, you're right. I have it noted down. He's very humble about they're talking about expectations of the future. He's very humble about it. All he wants is kind of a stable financial situation more than anything else.
So importantly, this messenger arrived and gave him a telegram, and they both kind of handed off to a. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Jumping ahead a little bit. Right before that happens, though, this is important. I really love this little bit of kind of plotting here. You're watching a sports channel because again, one of the guys is a sports nut, and he's watching Bozeman's bloopers, and this is like a blooper show, or basically the sportscaster for the Gotham games. He goes over like bloopers in all sorts of sports, and we see athletes panicking mid-sport, and examples such as boxing,
hockey, tennis.
Yeah, and there's they're scared out of their gourds on the field. And jokes aside, I like how the announcer Bozeman kind of addresses this, saying, "I mean, look, jokes aside, this is really troubling." And I like he's addressing the severity of this.
Right.
I'd be concerned too. It's like a string of panic all across Gotham sports. So then the telegram is delivered. He hands it to Dick, and then of course he opens it and gives the Bryans the points. They both touch the telegram, and it says, "Best of luck. Only a fool knows no fear. I'm betting on it." Of course, we reveal that the messenger removes his disguise. I like that we don't see him. I like that you can, if you've seen the other Scarecrow episode, you can recognize that the hair and the head shape of Jonathan Crane, with a fake mustache on. You can recognize it, but if you haven't seen the episode, it's kind of you're obscuring a little, and you can only recognize him by the theme and by kind of you piece it as a kid. You could piece it together. I like that quality.
Also, really quick, I like Brian and Dick's reaction to the telegram. It's just simply like in unison, weird.
Such a Hardy voice moment.
Right, exactly.
Where's Arnold and Gerald when you need him?
Oh God.
Okay, so Tiki, it's the night of the big game.
Oh God. Are you really going to me for sports enthusiasm?
Of course not. I'm being facetious. It's the big game. We folks, we're the biggest non-sports fans you'll ever meet. So.
Honestly, unless it's the San Francisco Giants or the Golden State Warriors, for me.
I stand corrected. I am the least. Okay, anyway,
and that's only because those home teams have managed to win a couple championships in the last decade or so.
All I care about is they make my donuts purple during the football season. That's all I care about. Anyway, I like my purple donuts. Anyway, so we have Gotham U versus State Tech. Brian is very oddly off his game. He's sweating profusely. He's very nervous. He's not being. I forget if he's a quarterback or not. He's not giving good plays out.
They're even saying it's the worst game of his college career.
And again, the scouts are out there too, so this is looking really bad on Brian here. I like that one of the players again kind of chews his head off for a moment there, but he's very concerned. Again, I like how we add layers to these guys, and even the guys are making jokes about it, they are very concerned at the same time. Hey, you okay, man?
Right.
I appreciate those little details, especially years later. It's like, yeah, it's good. It's good writing right there. So then we're in Rogers' POV as he's like about to toss a pass, or
this is speaking of crazy animation, Dragon. This
TMS.
Yeah, very much kind of like the Akira quality I was talking about earlier with that. Remind me the episode that has the Akira
Feet of Clay,
animation.
Feet of Clay,
Yes,
and all the
yes, yes,
morphing.
yes,
That's
yes. Right, right.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, that's TMS's stamp. I imagine that's the big thing they really got out of this episode, being able to do them doing a Scarecrow episode after the amazing work they did on Feet of Clay. I think they must have really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're in his POV, and I love how the Scarecrow music plays, and then we reveal because whenever they use the Psycho, the Bernard human, it's a take on the Bernard Herrmann Psycho cue that we had in the Scarecrow episode. Where basically it's the same music when someone is affected by the fear gas. You know, like when they see bugs or like their hands turn to skeletons, you hear that dun 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 dun. It's
Right,
happening.
right.
Monsters, and you have these monstrous-looking football players charging at Brian, and he panics. He gets into a fetal position. Don't hurt me! he's begging not to hurt him. And it's kind of like a little heroic bit here, where Dick Grayson kind of leaps onto the field to check on his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And they take Brian to the infirmary. He is not doing well. Meanwhile, on patrol.
And I guess this is where I was getting the Rock quote, like Robin's telling Batman about this incident. Like, I couldn't believe it, Batman. The Rock himself, Brian Rogers.
You might be right. I know he says Rock. I forget if it's like A or the. That's the thing I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure he says The Rock himself. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be the nickname.
He does, yeah, you're right.
I mean, obviously, it's like I'm going out of my way for like a ha-ha, it's The Rock before The Rock was famous kind of thing.
I mean, it's bizarre. I don't think you're wrong, because he does have like a nickname. There's like a nickname kind of framing on that, so I think you might be right, which is kind of... That's something to go back to, folks. Look into it. Anyway, so Robin's telling their own.
The funny thing is, though, Dragon, this guy, like, he's not far off from being like a young version of Dwayne Johnson.
No, when you say it that way, I kind of
because he's like very pleasant. I think he's kind of like vaguely Samoan looking.
Like, I don't know. I could vaguely see a Rock-esque quality. You're right, he's a nice guy. The Rock is very pleasant to people. Okay, so their conversation, Batman, and this is interesting here. Batman, he's figuring that Brian was under a lot of pressure, and again, after the Rock debacle, their conversation is interrupted. Again, Batman's just kind of shrugging off. Well, yeah, those scouts probably made him really nervous. It is possible. We have to take in all possibilities here. So then the conversation is interrupted by falling jewelry, and I gotta imagine that this is my own little headcanon here. So this I'm not saying this is intentional by any stretch. I'd like to think that it's kind of neat that falling pearl stops Batman in his tracks.
I Dragon, I absolutely caught that too. I totally read it as like that's Batman's fear right there.
I would love to think that's. I would love to think that's.
I don't know. I think you're onto something, Dragon, because I had that exact same reading on the scene.
And let's just say, folks, the next episode we're going to get to is all about that sort of stuff, and it's like all these little subtle things with Batman like that. They're actually intentional, and they're fascinating.
Okay.
Very looking. Oh, I'm sorry, not the next. The one. I'm sorry. Two ahead of us. That's when we get to that one.
I know the next one is also a big one.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, the next one is a hugely awesome one.
But the one after that, though. No, I've heard a lot about the one after that. Really,
we had a really good lineup coming up, folks. That's yeah, he's heard the murmurs.
Yes. I feel like at this point we've kind of like gotten through the gauntlet of like kind of like the growing pains of early season 1, and now we're like at like the kind of like, okay, now things are really revving up. Like this is the last mediocre season 1 episode.
Oh yeah. So let's see. So we use them again. There are a lot of gadgets in this episode. And I appreciate it. This is one of the episodes I remember when I was cataloging all the gadgets. I did go back to this one to get a couple cool ones. We have the Batman.
I'm curious. Was your catalog just like a handwritten journal or what?
Yeah, essentially yes. Essentially, I draw them, I label them. I was young once. Anyway.
No, it's okay. It's okay because I had binders and binders of like my own handwritten comic books filled up, so don't worry about it.
Anyway, so he's using the bat binoculars to spy on these thieves atop a building, and of course, given the opening of Batman the Animated Series is a regular occurrence in Gotham, thieves on buildings. These thieves are robbing a building, and they're in the process of a robbery, so they use these awesome, and this is the gadget I've drawn most from this episode, the bat reeling hooks, because it gave credence to the 60s Batman, the building climb, but it was kind of a cool modernization of that, because they basically have it's almost like a fishing line, but it shoots a bat hook, and it allows them to kind of slowly but surely kind of reel their way up a building without having to climb it.
Oh,
it was kind of like a neat little update of that, I guess. Anyway, it's aside from using the grappling gun, which don't get me wrong, I love the grappling gun, but they shook it up now.
but you're right. You're right. It's a nice little twist on the grappling gun for sure.
So they're scaling the building, and Robin, mysteriously, he develops vertigo mid-reel.
And Dragon, tell me, I'm curious if this was inspired by Hitchcock's Vertigo.
Oh, it was.
Okay, yeah.
Again, they do reference. I remember when we did the Penguin episode. They were gonna very much model the Penguin after Norman Bates, but then they kind of changed their mind on that.
Oh man, that would have been fascinating to see.
Yeah, they were gonna do like a whole mother thing. He was gonna have a mother like Mrs. Kabupat, and it was gonna be Penguin was like this crime boss who was subservient to his mother. And of course, with the bird theme, there was going to be there are Hitchcock nods, and of course, musically with the Scarecrow stuff, there's definitely some Hitchcock.
Of course.
So yeah, I'd be very shocked if Vertigo was not was not intentional.
And also, it's that animation studio very much at play here. Kind of the surreal quality.
Well, TMS, that's a specialty. See, TMS is famous for getting all the hard stuff in Batman the Animated Series.
And basically, all I imagine they're known for like the trippy visuals.
Yeah, the trippy visuals, all the hard stuff they animate, and all like the little like surprise touches. Nice. And of course, famously, they initially, when they did the revamp, once they thought Batman, I think it was TMS. It might have been a different studio in Korea. They thought Batman could fly because he had a cape once.
Oh no.
Anyway, we'll get to that one of these days. Anyway, I think we already did that with Batman Superman, the world's finest. That's when we did.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Anyway, okay, back to the episode. Sorry, folks, getting sidetracked. Okay, so Robin develops vertigo mid-reel, and he starts to panic mid-pursuit, which is very bad. He dangles, and that's where we get that trippy vertigo effect right there, as he's just kind of spinning as the crooks are dropping gargoyles and pieces of building on him. Batman's hit, and we have this really profound bit here where he's asking Robin for a hand. Robin, give me your hand. And again, Robin is petrified. He can't, and because of this, Batman drops. To avoid being hit by a gargoyle that's chasing him on the way down. That's a cool little. That's a cool act.
It's almost kind of like the Frollo death. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like only Batman can survive the Frollo death.
Right.
And it is. It's also kind of funny considering I forget if it was at the same year, but very, very closely. It was followed by Gargoyles at the time. Gargoyles was on in the 90s.
Oh.
I'm just saying, I forget, if Gargoyles might have been in 95, so it probably was after this, but I'm saying Batman and Gargoyles were kind of up against each other at a certain time. Anyway, so then, of course, Robin, no!
I know we've already discussed this, but Batman was competing with Darkwing Duck reruns on my end.
Right. But again, it's a great act break, him being chased down there.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a very high stakes act break.
Robin shouting no like that.
No.
So then this is a cool save. Of course, using my favorite, using the bat grappling gun. He grapples to another gargoyle and swings his way. This is silly but kind of funny. He swings into a lady's apartment who.
Oh my. Oh my!
Very.
And then George Takei's off to the side. Oh my!
As he's counting his, he's counting his residuals. Like, oh my, like Takei. Anyways, then this is a nice bit though. Batman, he takes it in stride. He smirks as he leaves. Like, hey, I touched a life today. Anyways, Batman aims to please. Like a brief moment of Batman aiming to please. Or gives a smile to the pretty lady in the chair. There you go. Anyway. So, Batman wraps up the crooks before they drop Gargoyles and Robin. Then he tends to his ward. Now Batman's definitely smelling something rotten in the state of Denmark or New Jersey, or more accurately, Gotham. Batman, he looks into the suspicious panic attack coincidence at the dorm room. He's checking the dorm and looking for clues. Robin feels very guilt-ridden. Then we have some of my favorite shots. These little shots for Batman. He's holding like the old piece of evidence. He's discovers powder on the telegram.
Yep.
Let me go to the Batcave. Would you like to take the reins a little?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Oh, let's see. So, I don't know.
Cats in the Batcave.
Right. Oh, yeah, okay. Dragon, this was actually something that made me very uncomfortable because I'm very much a cat person.
Mm.
So Batman, he has the bright idea to test the fear toxin out on a poor, harmless little kitty. Dragon, I didn't appreciate this from Batman, I gotta say.
But he knew the cat. I mean, he had a hypothesis. He knew the cat was going to be fine.
You know what? I don't care. You're putting the cat through a very stressful situation. I was like, I felt
It's
bad
not
for the
danger.
kitty.
It's just going to be a little weight down. He's testing the cure, too. And, he's just testing to see what the time release is. It's going to be fine.
Well, why couldn't he test it on himself if he was that sure?
Then he'd be... Come on. He has Rob... forget it. Tested on himself. That's the most ridiculous.
It really doesn't even make you like marginally uncomfortable because it did. Like I know Monkey's a big animal person. I know it would make him really uncomfortable.
You saw Isis the cat from the Catwoman. I was like, he likes cats.
Oh no! Isis. The cat nice thing is not the most uncomfortable thing about Isis the cat. All right.
I'm just saying he was nice to Catwoman's cat named Isis.
All right.
It was a different time. It was the 90s, folks. Anyway.
God.
It was either that or Hecate, all right? It was one or the... Anyway.
Well, I think in retrospect...
Anyway. So the point is he tested on a cat, and we see, the cat is petrified in the house, and then he comforts the cat. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're
right. I do like how he comforts the cat. Yeah.
There you go. It all balances out. It's all good karma at the end of the day. Anyway, so we learn that the fear chemical is activated by adrenaline, and of course we saw a bit of that on Gotham. By the way, the adrenal glands, the link to adrenaline.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Dragon, because this episode in general kind of reminds me of Gotham.
Yeah.
Where it's got like sort of like. The villain is very Gotham-like, where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna wander over through the scene and just invade. I don't know.
Well,
he's got like the corny disguise.
Here's why I think that is, to be honest. I think it feels like Gotham because this episode feels kind of like, and you could trace examples of this. I don't know if I have no proof of this, but it feels like an episode of the 60s Batman show, but interpreted through Batman the Animated Series, which we've gotten with episodes like Last Laugh before.
Oh, there you go. I could see that.
And of course, Gotham, famously, we kind of do a dark version of 60s
like
Batman.
Dark and twisted 60s Batman, yeah.
It's kind of Batman Returns meets 60s Batman. That's kind of what you get on Gotham a lot of the time.
Uh-huh. Nice,
and it feels very much just like that. It's probably why. It feels like a very straightforward kind of... And again, there's usually... Joker had taken over... It tried to... the Cesar Romero Joker in the 60s show had tried to corrupt the youths, the college youths in the 60s Batman show. So the kind of the college theme and a Batman villain kind of fits that way. Anyway, so the fear toxin, the fear chemicals, it absorbs in the adrenal glands. So that's primed for an athlete who's going to have a lot of adrenaline pumping during the game. So again, someone is targeting athletes, and of course this would affect Robin in the very athletic field of fighting crime and being an acrobat. So they need to get answers from the Professor of Fear himself, who was last time they checked in Arkham. So Batman's got a notion here, and he's got to check.
Very much a Hannibal Lecter situation, right?
Yes. So, by the way, we reference yet again Nothing to Fear with the music, as well as where we left the Scarecrow in Nothing to Fear. He was terrified of bats because, like we see a bat fly outside of Arkham Asylum. It's kind of like, I think it's a nod to the ending of Nothing to Fear with the Scarecrow. Anyway. So we have a very large nurse. She is an orderly, a nurse, whatever. She's bringing Crane's food to another orderly, voiced by Mark Hamill, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Very over-the-top orderly. It's kind of funny. The orderly makes a Scarecrow joke about the corn on the cob. Oh, corn on the cob, his favorite, being a Scarecrow. She leaves and says, "Oh, I'll give it to him. Don't you worry." And he just dumps the food in the garbage can. Then enter Batman.
But I love this. Like Batman, like he's concerned about the general prisoner. Like has Crane lost his appetite? He's like sticking up for feeding Crane. You know what I mean?
And Tiki, I'm going to tease you a little here. Is that
Oh boy.
no, in a good way. I'm just going to give you a little
Okay.
tease here. Is that in season 3, where we're going to have a little bit more Robin, and another episode where Robin comes into play in a very minor capacity, but he's in the episode. We have a whole episode where Batman is worried about the treatment of patients in Arkham Asylum.
Mm.
So I mean, this kind of a tease of kind of the Arkham not being run the best way it should be.
Sure.
Little tease of the future there, folks. So also I have Batman in the In Shadow Batman reveal, and they always love doing this, where Batman, because the show famously is like black on black paper, at least in the early days. These original 3 seasons, they painted the backgrounds on the black paper, so Batman could disappear into the shadows a lot of the time like this, and he blends into the dark painted backgrounds. He just emerges from shadow and looks flawless, man. It looks awesome. So we have a very intimidating Batman who wants to make sure that Scarecrow is in his cell. The big guy here, the big orderly, the big Mark Hamill orderly here, he's pleading to Batman not to, and he puts his hand on Batman's shoulder, which is a mistake. And I'll love to get an example, one of the early examples of the Bat glare, where Batman just shoots him a glare over the shoulder, like "remove your hand" without saying. And by the way, these are like the little details that we're going to see unfold in the Nightwing arc, where Robin's not crazy about how Batman deals with people all the time.
Right, yeah.
And he tells a timid Robin to stay with him. Robin, stay with him, because he knows Robin's a little under the weather, and a very timid Robin's like, "Oh yeah, sure, Batman, yeah." They have this beautiful shot, and Tiki, I love this sequence right here. Batman walking.
Oh yeah, this is I mean, this must be a predecessor to like the trial and episodes like that.
You're right about that. Yeah, it's building blocks, folks. Building blocks along the way. So it's a beautiful shot of Batman walking the halls of Arkham. This is the first time we got a shot like this of Batman walking down the halls of Arkham Asylum. It's like first we see we go by the cells and we see the Joker.
I'm here for a very brief cameo. Isn't that right, Oscar?
And you can. And by the way, there is a mistake in this episode because they were figuring it out. You'll remember in Christmas with the Joker, they're all in the uniforms. Like the prisoners are usually in asylum uniforms, but here I guess they did it for dramatic effect.
I like it. It's fine. We don't care.
I'm just saying it's cool. So they change it later to be right. It's like kind of a mistake, but it's a cool looking mistake. So at the same time,
right.
Anyway, so we have Joker. He was looking holding his own card with his own face. We checking the villains, and what's so cool, each cell, Tiki, each cell plays their theme music as we go by. So it's Joker in his the cowl is familiar, but I'm blanking on the face. Then of course we go to Ivy's cell, and there's some continuity here. Ivy was in Stonegate to go with the irony of her episode. She was trying to kill Harvey Dent for building Stonegate, and she was put in Stonegate, but now she's been transferred to Arkham Asylum, so she's in Arkham now. And when Batman walks by, you hear that dun, dun, as she's clutching her plant very, very timidly. Then the most interesting and the most recent entry, and I love like the little headcanon here, that he passes Two-Face's cell, and I always read this as like a tragic reminder for Batman of the new arrival to Arkham. Like, there's my friend Harvey Dent, who is now Two-Face, among the ranks of the other crazies. And again, kind of chronological with like how the big villains kind of developed there. The ones who would be in Arkham. You have Joker, who was Chris with the Joker, then Pretty Poison, then Two-Face. It's pretty straightforward there.
Yeah, nice. All
right.
Okay, so let me see.
Orderly panics as Batman gets to the Crane's cell. What does he find?
The Scarecrow is a scarecrow.
And I love this, and this touch still holds up, where after the orderly flees, Batman, having removed the hat of the beheaded fake Scarecrow, the idea is Joker heard Batman opening that cell, and Joker knew that what he was going to find, and he's laughing at Batman's
Yes. That's
discovery. Just the Joker laughing at Batman for like, oh, joke's on you. It's great. Loved it. Really forgot about him until the rewatch. Like, oh yeah, he was laughing. I knew he was laughing. I forgot that he was laughing at him.
Yeah.
All right. So we check in with the Scarecrow. So we're with Leon the bookie. So what's happening, Tiki?
All right, and I gotta say, this whole sports betting thing is probably my least favorite part of the episode. It's a big reason why I'm not crazy about it.
I will say, I will give it credit here, though. I do like this. I appreciate the simplicity of where Crane's plot is that he needs money for chemicals. You wish there was a little more to it, but it is like it's a mundane practicality that villains are going to need to address. They
You
need
know what?
money
It's
for
kind of like
sports.
a lame version of Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I love that idea. I love seeing villains have to go through that. But I mean, you kind of wish there was a little more. I'm fine with it, but I get it. I absolutely get why you
I
want
mean,
more.
my whole issue with it is it basically becomes like sort of like a half-hearted like, "Hey kids, sports gambling is wrong."
Yeah. Okay, so Leon the bookie gives Crane 28,000. And this is, hey, what's your name, pal? What's your secret? It says, you may call me Lucky.
Which I think, I don't know. That's maybe come up with something a little more subtle,
Well, he doesn't need to tell him anything, just being facetious. It's like,
I guess.
Leon wants to know Lucky's secret, and he sends his thug. And by the way, now here's a really cool tidbit to you. Here's a really cool quote Walt Disney from Saving Miss Banks. This is what's called a tidbit. Uh, this thug is voiced by Tim Curry.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice.
And I would surmise, and I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure they probably get Tim Curry in on a recording. And well, this episode does have the Joker in it, so I do have to wonder if this is one of the episodes where they redubbed Mark Hamill. They dubbed Mark Hamill over the Tim Curry tapes.
Uh-huh.
Because again, we still don't know how many episodes Tim Curry did. I want to say it might have been 3 episodes. This might have been like some extra stuff they recorded.
Uh-huh.
And they had him recorded. And traditionally, a voice actor, a guest, or a voice actor can be paid the same amount for up to 3 voices. So Tim Curry logically would be Joker, the orderly, and the thug. Those would be his 3 roles. Those very possibly could have been all Tim Curry, and this was the leftover one. So Tim Curry technically did do at least one episode of Batman the Animated Series, despite not getting the role.
Right, right.
Now, a fun fact for the folks out there. Okay, anyway, so it's what happens.
Okay, let's see. So quote unquote Lucky wanders into the employees only area of the unfortunately named, I've got to say, Dragon Horse Show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very unfortunately named.
Yeah. I wonder if that's them just trying to. They would test the sensors at times, Tiki.
Right.
They did. See, they had the old. You're familiar with the old sensors trick, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they pulled the folk. They basically put a lot of like really offensive stuff, so the little subtle gags would get through. And a lot of shows did this, and the animated series is famous for it at times. You never know. Anyway, yes. Keep going.
Okay, let's see. So he wanders in.
I love how we have music and the straw imagery as we build up the reveal here.
He confronts the bookie's goon. The goon is like, "How come you always win, Mr. Lucky?" "Oh, well, that's simple. I fixed the brain. I fixed the games."
How?
"Dear little brain, allow me to demonstrate."
Of course, and I love this detail because the thug is wearing gloves, so he makes sure he taps him on the face with the telegram to make sure it's absorbed through the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And he reads it, and what does it say?
Let's see. It says, you know what? I actually don't have the quote. I'm sorry. You always put me in this position, Dragon, at least once an episode.
Sorry. Boo. It says boo.
Oh, okay. Right. I have boo written down. I thought there was more to it. I'm sorry. This is why I need more context to my notes.
So it says boo. It says boo. What is this? Some kind of joke? Oh, it's no joke. And of course, we revealed that it's no joke. I assure you. It's as he reveals that he is the Scarecrow. He has the line of the episode here. It's the fear of victory and the agony of the Scarecrow. As he removes as he presents himself as a Scarecrow. Step 2, and of course, now on to Step 2, and we see Step 2 unfold as he terrifies the henchmen, and as we see his jack-o'-lantern. What they do with the Scarecrow is they give him what they call it a jack-o'-lantern face. They give him kind of a jack-o'-lantern mask design. And basically, we take that design, and under the fear toxin, It turns like this full TMS looking monster as the act break. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like you said to me, I thought the original appearance of the
Yeah.
Scarecrow is just sort of like this creepy, lanky guy was a little more effective.
Yeah, I love that as a concept, though. You would make someone who doesn't seem that scary even more scary with the fear toxin.
I guess.
No, you're right. It doesn't really necessitate the change. I'm just saying it's a cool act break.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's the thing. He's like in the same costume. They just changed the mask. Really, that's the thing. This guy gave him hair.
Right, right.
Yeah. All right. So we have this great shot. We're at the GCPD holding cell. We have this great Batman Gordon silhouette on the man cowering beneath like the table.
And of course, now I'm a little bit more familiar with the structure of like Gordon having like about one scene per episode.
Yeah, I mean Gordon also has some dialogue, less cameo. So he, for the most part, he's in almost every episode of the animated. It's rarely will you not see Gordon at least in a cameo show. Rarely. So yeah, he's at the infirmary. We see him. We see the scared thug, and I gotta tell you, Batman's a little curt with Gordon here, but it's. There's another episode that does this a lot more, where he's just like, or Batman is really he's kind of mocking Gordon in the episode. We'll get there one of these days. It's not. Well, we'll get. I don't want to jump too ahead. Anyway, so yeah, he basically he says, you have. I don't understand why you're so scared. I don't get it. He says, you haven't been watching the sports channel, have you? Oh, you mean the athletes? Yes. Then this man works for Leon the bookie. Scarecrow scaring sports stars, and he's been betting. And of course, Gordon fills in, and he's been betting against the teams. Yep. And this is the perfect way to scare up some cash for his sick schemes. And again, very 60s Batman plot, but kind of direct and to the point.
And Dragon, I'm sorry, like I'm trying desperately to connect this to Back to the Future Part 2 somehow. Can you help me out here?
Of course, it's the almanac plan.
Well, yes.
Bet on. See, well, here's what happens. Is that
God.
Scarecrow? There was the deleted scene where they were going to go about it a different way, folks. He was going to pull out not a telegram, but he was going to pull out an almanac that was doused in the fear powder, and he was going to roll up like a newspaper and bop the guy on the nose, and he was going to say, what I do is you look at this, you bet, and you never lose." What are you talking about, old man? He doesn't know. He looks the same age with the mustaches. Anyway, we're getting off point. Then Batman
yes, we are.
Then Gordon says, like like Christopher Lloyd, he says, "Batman, I didn't invent the time machine to bet on gambling. To gamble, I built it to travel through time." Anyway, okay, that's enough of the Back to the Future.
All right.
Okay. Off of that absurd tangent. On to, oh yes. So Robin's trying to get his acrobatic mojo back.
Mm-hmm. Which again is another thing that's a little bit repetitive in the episode. It's like, oh no, Robin's not on his A game.
Yeah, but I kind of wonder how much of that might be mandated, though. I never thought of it that way, but they might have to spell that for the kids. Like, nope, he's not fixed, guys. He hasn't worn off. We got to remind you.
Well, yeah, but you see what I mean, though. Because of that, it kind of like the structure of the episode feels just a little bit like, all right, I get it.
I'll give you that. So Batman saves. It's a nice bit, though, and I love how Batman is with him here. And again, it gives you kind of that great mixed context for years later when he and Robin are going to be at odds. And that's the cool thing looking back at season 1 is you can see how close Batman and Robin are in the early days, where Batman saves Robin, and he's really patient with him. And he says, look, he reassures him, look, it's going to wear off. I'm going to the. He says, why don't you? I'm going to the Gotham Knights game tonight. It's probably going to be. It's the likely target. He says, look, and he's very good with Robin. The scared Robin here says, why don't you come along? You keep lookout. I'll drive real slow.
I like that.
It's being so nice.
He mentioned specifically he doesn't really expect a lot out of Robin. He's like, look, I just need an extra pair of eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Kind of like that Flash moment in Justice League that you and I love so much.
Oh, yeah. Save one person. Oh, my God. I love that movie.
Like that to me, like just justifies Justice League existing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, Justice League has those moments. That's why it's hard to really
Right,
like
right.
this kind of rage at it. It's because it has all those little moments. You know, Wonder Woman saving a bunch of school children. I dig that, man.
Anyways.
Anyway, so Robin, he spots Crane. Keeping a lookout the extra set of eyes. He spots Crane. Batman. Oh god, this gag. Do you remember this gag? You want to take him through it
Oh, let me see.
with Batman?
It's not really in my notes. You better cover it.
Batman terrifies this poor telegram delivery boy. And by the way, oh yeah, this is also this is I believe this is also Mark Hamill, the telegram guy, a little delivery
Oh
boy.
man,
So
he's getting around this episode.
that's the thing that might throw my Tim Curry theory out because that's 3 roles for Mark Hamill. Then that regard. And anyway, the point is, but still, Tim Curry, you never know what's left over from what. Point is,
Of course.
Batman he grabs a telegram again, like we've seen the telegram ploy, and that kind of adds a little extra kind of spin on here. Where again, Scarecrow's not pulling the same trick twice. He's delivering the fear in a different manner. He's not doing the delivery boy thing. So Batman grabs the army, terrifies Barry. What? Just Batman annoyed, just lets him go. Just is very very annoyed by it. Let's see. So then Robin spots Crane coming out of the equipment room, and yeah, I like how kind of scared Robin is. And again, Robin's very vulnerable in the episode here.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds Mitch Knoll's helmet, the athlete in question. He finds Mitch Knoll's helmet upside down. I like the visual detective work there. Okay, the helmet's upside down, so you presume it's the only one upside down, therefore has been tampered with.
Right, right.
We cut to Mitch playing very well and very unaffected. Scarecrow's in the catwalks. I do like the catwalk climax of this.
Yeah, there is one moment in the episode, Dragon, that to me kind of we'll get there. We'll get there.
They do something really clever with, and I think that's
yes.
So,
yeah, I think we're on the same page.
So Scarecrow's in the catwalks, and he's baffled. He's baffled. And Batman then appears. Change of luck, Scarecrow. Batman enters. You're aware. This is funny. This is the PSA of it all, but it's awesome to hear Batman kind of deliver this sort of PSA. And this is kind of him, kind of giving the Doc Brown speech from Back to the Future too. You're aware gambling's illegal in Gotham.
God.
Of course, Scarecrow's saying, you need money for chemicals. They don't come cheap.
Batman's looking out for the little things.
Yeah. Again, like those little Adam West touches there. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, it was.
You don't get a lot of it in the animated series, so it's kind of nice when you have those little throwbacks. Scarecrow then threatens to drop a whole vial, like the whole vial of the fear powder, into the crowd below them. And it's a really packed. I like how packed the house is. By the way, look how that it elevates the stakes when you really think about it. Those guys are packed to the rack. This is a big game in Gotham. Gotham Knights. If you're the playing against, but it's the Gotham Knights. Big Gotham Knights game. So basically, Scarecrow wants to ensure that he can leave here. He's going to drop this vial into a crowd, which will send them into a panic, and they'll be, trampling and clawing.
It's basically like the old, I'm going to create a toxic version of humanity.
Sure. And yeah, they're going to be trampling and clawing each other, which again they could very much do some serious harm in that confined space, like being fearful, being afraid of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Robin spies Batman in his predicament, and he's psyching himself up. He's just trying to get out of his funk. Okay, Batman needs me. So he starts climbing the ladder. So again, Robin he's facing his fears. That's kind of the big moral of the episode, aside from the whole anti-gambling.
Dragon, like I said, I like the Robin stuff it's a good arc that the episode has. I just wish it wasn't as repetitive. Like maybe cutting out just that one scene, that one scene of like, hey, by the way, Robin's still in a funk. Cutting that one scene out maybe would have done a lot for the pacing.
I don't think you're wrong about that, Tiki. I really don't. I think you might be right there. So Batman, he gives his word. Look, Scarecrow, I give him my word. I will not follow you. It's just, well, I need a little assurance. So he drops it on a lower level of the catwalk, which I presume will be. I presume that's intentional. So here's the thing: a Scarecrow it's kind of funny how Scarecrow screws himself here. He says he just drops on at the lower level of the catwalk, and then Batman, again, he's freaking Batman. He jumps down there, and he's getting the vial. Then Scarecrow realizes, okay, this backfires. So then he's causing a diversion. He's kind of fighting Batman a little bit to make sure he can't get the vial. So then the vial teeters. Again, it's kind of a cliche, but I think it's really well animated, though. It's it's like kind of teetering on the side as Batman's fighting the Scarecrow here. And here's where we start the clever device here. So now we parallel the events of the game with the action unbeknownst to them happening on the catwalk. So this is where we start doing that.
Yeah, and that's definitely the best idea animation wise in the episode, I think.
That's definitely the big standout from this episode, the climax. Absolutely, where it's like whenever the football players are fumbling, that's when Scarecrow's hitting Batman.
And then also like the play-by-play of the announcer.
Yeah, fumbles again. That's disaster for Gotham. Of course, the light bulbs are smashed on Batman's heads, unbeknownst to the crowd. Then, basically, as that happens, as those light bulbs are smashed, it's a fumble, disaster for Gotham. Then the vial drops, and Robin swings in at the last second. He catches the vial. He conquers his fear, saving the day. What a recovery! And he's got the vial, and he tells Batman, "I got the vial, and I snagged the helmet. Basically, I made sure no one's affected. We're all good here, good to go." And Batman gives like kind of the feel-good Mean Joe green coconut smile moment to Robin here.
Oh, it totally is. It totally is. Yeah.
Well, it looks like you've got a handle on your problem, Robin.
Hey, Dragon.
Yes.
You could say that Batman is
proud of his ward. He's proud of Burt Ward, but in addition to Burt, he's proud of his burden of his Robin.
Wow. Yes. Very, very well put, Dragon.
Anyway.
All right, so I gotta say, Dragon, talking through it, yeah, it's not the worst episode.
We're not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have the epilogue.
Yeah, you're right.
So Bruce Wayne in a turtleneck, by the way, which is not. We see him like in like a blue. I'm saying he's like with the suit jacket and everything. It's kind of a new look on him with the yellow turtleneck and the brown jacket. Anyway, so he and Dick, they're watching the happy ending unfold, essentially. Where, by the way, color set. I like that we show. I always had the headcanon that in the animated series, it's like the 50s where you could have a color set, which would be cutting edge, where you'd have a black and white set. If you had two TVs, that kind of meant you were rich. That's kind of another Back to the Future reference for Batman here. So I figure that's why we have both kind of color sets in the Batman universe. So Brian Rogers, he is signed. He's been signed on the first draft, so things worked out for Brian. He's on the Gotham Knights team. Hooray! And he's back on track. And Robin wishes he can congratulate him. And then Batman has kind of the cheeky line of the episode where he says, "Well, you could always send him a telegram." So yeah, that's
I feel like the Seinfeld bass line should play over that line.
I think. Oh my god, you're right. Larry David.
All right. Okay, so Dragon, I mean, I gotta say, like talking through it, it's definitely not as bad as Cat in the Claw Part 2, but I think out of all the episodes we've covered so far, it might be my second least favorite. Not to say that it's bad, it's just like, there's things holding it back. As we said, the Robin...
You really would Batman in his basement over this? You'd really put...
Yes, I would, Dragon, because I've got Batman in my basement is... you know me in my so bad it's good kind of thing. Like I would go back and watch Batman in my basement more than I would go back and watch this, I think.
Yeah.
But it's there's things holding it back. The Robin stuff, it's a little too preachy, it's a little repetitive. I don't really like the direction they go with Scarecrow. But overall, there's nice things about it. The animation, as you said, the finale's good. We've got some good Bruce Wayne stuff in there. The trip to Arkham's really well handled. So yeah, overall an interesting little stepping stone of an episode.
For me, I thought it's a really decent Robin episode with simple moral on facing your fear. Again, I like it was kind of like a neat reworking of this of a '60s plot. I like that. And overall, I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not groundbreaking. It's not, it's not one of the top tier Batman episodes. I will say this though, it's like one that it's simple and straightforward. It's just, it's an okay episode. That's really at the end of the day where I'm at. It's like, again, we do have a couple neat sequences. Again, TMS I think brings it with the animation. You got some cool sequences, and I much echo Tiki's thoughts on that too. The Arkham sequence and the climax. You got some neat sequences in there, and again, yeah, I wonder if maybe it's a little off the beaten path because of just kind of the one-shot writer. It's kind of a little different from the style of Batman the Animated Series.
Could be.
I never really thought of that until now, I gotta say. But yeah, it's it's a simple, straightforward one. It's an okay episode. It's again, it's kind of like it's a fine it's a fine episode. It's again not top 10, but it's on a list of some kind. It's yeah.
All right, Dragon, take us out.
Little bulldozer Batman here, okay. A coffee break gone awry. A revenge plot 7 years in the making. Will Temple Fugit crush Mayor Hill under the gravity and ever-growing weight of time itself? Will there be a nice spread at Hill's funeral? Can Batman beat the Clock King, or is his time up? Find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
With the Clock King on the next episode of the Animated Batcave.